Okay, thanks everyone for attending this evening's meeting of council. It is August 17th, 2022. It's about 7:32 p.m. Let's start with a silent prayer and pledge of allegiance. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Unusual not to hear Mr. Martin's voice. Slightly off.
He anchors us.
Okay, let's start with a roll call.
Joe St. John is absent. Damon Capel.
Here.
Tim Goes.
Here.
Murray Neff.
Here.
John Grumney.
Here.
David Martin is absent. Cindy Cooper. Here. 5 yeas.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I think we have a need to amend the agenda. I was told that ordinance 2022-35 will not be considered tonight. Need a motion just to remove that from the agenda.
Yes, Ms. Belcher pointed that out to me a few minutes ago. So we do need a motion to amend the agenda. That's regarding the compensation ordinance that we're not prepared for.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Capel.
Second.
Second by Mr. Neff. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Damon Capel.
Yes.
Murray Neff.
Yes.
Tim Goes.
Yes.
John Grumney.
Yes.
Cindy Cooper.
Yes.
5 yeas.
Thank you. That ordinance is removed. Okay, let's go. I don't think we've approved the minutes. I believe that's next. Our minutes from our last meeting, August 3rd, 2022. Any changes, corrections? Motion to approve. Anyone?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Grumney,
Second.
second by Mr. Capel. Any further discussion? Roll call.
John Grumney.
Yes.
Damon Capel.
Yes.
Tim Goes.
Yes.
Murray Neff.
Yes.
Cindy Cooper.
Yes.
5 yeas.
Minutes passed. Let's go to visitors. And I think we did recently add one. That would be our Assistant Finance Director, Ms. Dana.
Good evening. Good evening, Council. I was requested to give a brief overview of the 2023 budget timeline. I handed each of you a sheet of paper, so you should have it in front of you, and I'll just go through it really quickly. Working backwards, December 7th is when we would like to have the budget passed and the third reading on that council night. So having a third reading that night, to the council meeting prior to that would be our second reading, November 16th. And the meeting prior to that, November 2nd, would be our first reading of the budget ordinance. And then working backwards, I added a couple unscheduled finance meetings in here, as well as some other deliverable dates. If we go back up to the top, August 26th is when I will send out the budget worksheets to all of the department heads. And this will include the capital expenditure item 5-year projections. And then the idea is for the department heads to prepare their budget for 2023 based on the historical 5 years of data that I will provide to them and provide me with an estimated number on September 9th. And September 16th is when that I will put that draft together and send that to all of you members of the Finance Committee. Then on September 21st, at the regularly scheduled Finance Committee meeting, we'll have a discussion of the first draft of the budget. October 5th, there is a regular services meeting at 5:30 p.m. I added to this list a special Finance Committee meeting to be run in conjunction with that if necessary to discuss budget items. And then following that meeting on October 7th, Friday, Finance Committee members, any questions that they have can be submitted to department directors at that time so that any answers to those questions can be discussed at the October 19th Finance Committee meeting. So the idea is to have everything discussed and ready after that October 19th Finance Committee meeting and have the draft budget ready on November 2nd for the first read. So if anyone has any questions, I mean, this is, of course, it can be very fluid. It's just a schedule that I put together. So if anyone has any objections or would like to see something changed, I'm open to any discussion.
Thanks, Dana. Yeah, I had actually seen this, I think it was a week or so ago and approved it. I think Ms. Belcher agrees with what's here in front of us and what Dana's put together. And I don't think staff has anything further to add. I think they're also in agreement with that timeline.
Service meeting is at 6:30, not 5:30, but that's a silly minor little change, but just since you're new, the parks meeting is at 5:30, then service, then council.
I'll make that change. Thank you.
Yep, sure. That's great. Thank you, Dana. I stepped into her office this afternoon and she read this to me and I said, can you do it again tonight? So appreciate it. Thank you.
Any questions for Dana? Anyone?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, let's go to our committee reports. Let's start over here to my right. Mr. Grundy, anything this evening? All right, Mr. Capel.
Nothing tonight.
Okay, Ms. Cooper.
Yes, we had an events meeting on August 10th. We had two visitors. We had Mr. Gene Linton from the Kiwanis Group. He discussed the Labor Day flea market that they're going to be hosting on September 5th. Something interesting I didn't realize was that it's a fundraiser event and they're going to be having a 50-50 drawing and they're going to be donating money for playground equipment for the new intermediate school, which is at the old high school, the old middle school. So the old middle school doesn't have playground equipment they didn't have it for middle school age kids, but now the intermediate kids, they still get a recess and they have no playground equipment. So I thought that was great. And they also are, they work with the middle school too, and they have a builders club at the middle school. And it sounds like they're just really doing good things. And then our second visitor was Melissa Hatchell, and she came to discuss the Big Nut Strut, which is an annual fundraiser for Big Walnut Schools. It's going to be on October 9th. This is the 13th year they've done it. It's also a fundraiser, PTOs. They all work together. I thought that was great, from the preschool all the way up to the high school. They have tons of volunteers that help, and they're going to be starting at GRE, and they're going to have a bounce house, DJ, face painting vendors. Brutus is going to be there, all kinds of great things. The cutoff to get a t-shirt is September 14th. And it sounds like they really, police doesn't block off any roads, but the police are aware the event is going to be going on. And it's mostly through Sunbury Mills and Sunbury Meadows.
That's a 5K.
Yes,
race,
and
huh?
there's a 1 mile too. But yeah, all fun stuff coming up in Big Walnut. So that's it for tonight.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yep.
I do have one report. We had the finance report. We had that earlier this evening. All of you were here. We had three main items of discussion there. We talked about current compensation for village officials, the impact fee discussion, where we'll have the first reading here this evening shortly, and then the wastewater treatment plant design services report from Mr. Hall. So you were all here, you all heard that. I don't have anything further to add unless anyone else likes to add anything to that. Okay. All right. That's it for committee reports. We have police report listed here. I did talk to Chief earlier today that he does not have an official report. He's swamped with sizzle and sounds and preparing for that, but no major issues to report from him at this time. Let's go to the administrator's report. Mr. Piles.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor.
Mhm.
I'll be brief. I do want to note and welcome Jacob Stockmaster to the service department. Young man has a lot of potential. We're very happy to have him on board. The postings have come down for the administrative assistant and the wastewater. Less than a handful for wastewater, more than a handful for administrative assistant. Note the Trail Town wrap up is going to be held in this very location, about a week and a day away. Got the note about the McDonald's variance that was approved by BZA.
What was that specifically? Wasn't that the sign?
Yeah, their electronic message center, they'd had a conditional use that allowed 4 messages. And they were kind of I was told, this is one of those things you inherit, was that it was kind of like 4 messages, 1 for breakfast, 1 for lunch, 1 for dinner, and 1 catch-all message. And so they requested 10 messages and a 20-second cycle on their messages, and the BZA approved that. So you'll see a more active sign at McDonald's here very soon, I'm sure.
Was that a unanimous approval, by the way?
It was. Yes, it
Okay.
was.
Well, that's what they're there for.
That's what they're there for. Yeah, what else I want to mention? Streets, we're pretty much wrapped up. Got it done before school, got it done 2.5 months before last. We were at, 2.5 months earlier than last year. We've got one more repair that we're talking with them about. There's cement gutter and apron that services, the townhomes, and it's in very poor condition. It's got some potholes and rutting going on, and it needs attention. If it goes through another freeze and thaw cycle with winter, it's not going to be good. So we'll still be within the allocated budget and the contract amount. So
Excellent.
we're finalizing that out.
I did note a couple of positive feedback comments on social media on Kittner Parkway.
Yeah.
So they must have done a pretty good job.
They
I think it was welcomed. It
They
was
did a
overdue.
good job, and that road needed a
Yeah.
good job. So I think it's both factors come into play on that.
Mhm.
But that's all I have unless you have questions.
Questions? I had a question about J.R. Smith with regard to the building repair and the prosecution of the wrongdoers.
Yeah,
Where does that
the
stand?
prosecution is pretty much wrapped up. There is the 3 folks that ended up going through a court process beyond, not having prosecution, have responsibilities for restitution.
Mhm.
One of the young men will be doing some community service over the weekend as part of that restitution. And we have prepared the building for construction. We met and the Lions have been engaged. They've asked Mr. Dane, local architect, to look at the building, give us some recommendations on how we make the windows a little more resistant to vandalism, and if he has any other recommendations on kind of a punch list of things we need to do to get that top floor active again. I kind of see that as once we're through leaf season, our service department will have a little more time to work on something like that in between snowfalls and things like that. So it's kind of a winter project for them, late fall, winter project. Needs a repainting. There's going to be a few things we're probably going to have to contract for in terms of furnace and some plumbing. And then our people will work on the floor, the painting, and getting it back up to be ready to be used by community groups.
Mhm. Excellent. Be good. We'll finally be glad to see that back in use.
And the basement we're saving some money. We've been able, Kathy's worked very hard on our file storage and our destruction policy. And we've got approval to destroy some records. The planning records have been moved in mass to the basement down there. There's a lot that needs to happen with those and find what we have and what we don't have. And so that'll become our record storage, and we hope to eliminate the need for the temporary storage that we've been renting on a monthly basis.
Mhm. That'll be nice. That'll be a big change, a welcome change. All right. Anything further from Mr. Piles? Okay. How about Mr. Hall, engineer's report?
Thank you. Steve already updated you on the street improvements, so I won't go over that. I just will mention a couple updates on the private development projects. Granville Street multifamily development, that's due for a rezoning application, which is scheduled for the Monday's Planning Commission meeting, August 22nd. Another item on that agenda is the Eagle Creek development of 3 Bs and a K. That will be on the agenda as well at Monday's meeting, and they submitted the preliminary plat and plan for approval. So as you know, that's been rezoned already, and they moved forward to a preliminary plat stage. So we're just finishing our reviews of both of those, and those are both on Monday's agenda. Other than that, Price Pond continues to move forward aggressively on their Section 1 construction, and along with Rolling Hills as well. Any questions at all on my status report? Thank you.
On the path over here across from the library, Fallen Heroes phase, we still on track on the design and getting Preservation Parks timeline satisfied
Yeah,
before the end of the year.
design moving forward here.
Excuse me.
Mr. Marr and his group are preparing the plan on that. In talking with Preservation Parks, they just want the project bid and started this year, so the funding doesn't have to be complete. But we're going to move forward and get that bid here as soon as we can. Just a side note on the Granville Street apartments, we're going to work with that developer potentially to get that section at the top of the bank installed as part of that. As you know, he had a contribution in his initial application, and this application of 25,000. We may recommend to increase that to cover that section at the top of the bank.
Good idea. That's Mr. Romanelli, right? Yeah. Okay. All right, very good. Anything for Mr. Hall? Okay, thank you, Wes. Resolutions, I don't believe we have any of those this evening. How about ordinances? We have a third reading listed. This is the table ordinance that will remain tabled. That's number 2021-49. And then we have 2022, I believe it's 0.36. This is the ordinance revising development impact fee amounts for police and municipal facilities, adopting new development impact fees for parks and recreation facilities and road facilities, and other general updates to the procedures for the imposition, calculation, collection, expenditure, and administration of development impact fees to be, imposed on new development, providing for severability and providing for an effective date. We talked about this earlier in finance. This is the impact fee, the first reading. As we mentioned, it's been a long and arduous process, but necessary. And it was prompted by Mr. Haller. I don't know if he's still here. I don't think he is, but about 2 years ago. And I don't want to regurgitate everything that we talked about in finance, but it's nice to see this on the agenda and being read for the first time. So I would fully anticipate it going a full 3 readings, and we'll entertain a passage at that time. It deserves to be heard 3 times for public reasons, obviously. So anything further, Mr. Breen or Mr. Piles, that you want to add at this time?
No, I think you've summed it up. It was 2003 when we first enacted impact fees. We were fairly progressive in doing them, frankly, at that time for a village of our size. But they haven't provided a source of revenue for the fees that the consultant said we were able to enact that time police and municipal facilities. They commented that our streets really weren't ready for that fee because we didn't have a level of service that really justified imposing it at that time. And Parks was similar. So it is a testament really to the village, now city, and to administration, staff, council, and the residents for increasing our level of service on those two disciplines, the streets and the parks, where we do have a level of service now that justifies a fee. And moving forward, this is a way to raise revenue and for the new development in town to, ante up, to use a poker term. People here have established everything that's here, including everybody that sits here who's a resident. And this allows them to kind of kick in and help us to continue to provide the level of service to the new residents that we all enjoy now. And that's what it's designed to do. So it's first reading, and glad to answer any legal questions as we move forward. But that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you. And I would add that the amount of work that was put into this behind the scenes by our staff was over the last couple of years is nothing short of monumental, actually. And so quite admirable. And knowing that we have such solid employees working on this, it's just very, very happy to see it here before us this evening. So we'll move on. Thank you to everyone who's had an effort and played a role in getting it here. Let's go to new and unfinished business. We have authorization here to talk about for street closure of East Greenville for the Kiwanis Labor Day Flea Market, September 5th, 2022. Steve, do you have something on this?
No, it's a requested street closure. They're probably bringing in food.
Yeah.
This is the same thing that happened, same group last Labor Day. And I think the chief is aware of this request. Okay. And we have to, we need a motion, right? That's all, motion and approval.
I'll motion to close the East Greenville Street for the Labor Day Flea Market, September 5th.
Motion by Ms. Cooper. I'll second. Discussion. Roll call.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
Jim Goes,
Yes.
Damon Capel,
Yes.
Maureen Knapp,
Yes.
John Grumney,
Yes.
5 yeas.
Thank you. Okay, let's go to purchase order 35-866. This is Mr. Hall's CT Consultants. Rezoning for Kintner Crossing, 13,730. Does say it's a pass through. Anything to add further, Kathy or Mr. Hall?
This is a PO for the invoice in it. I try to put them out there in front so we don't have to go back to council each time, because it just helps them put the project out there so we're ready each time the invoice comes in. And it is a pass through, it is reimbursable by the developer.
Any further questions? I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second by Mr. Grundy. Discussion. Roll call.
Jim Goes,
Yes.
John Grumney,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
Maureen Knapp,
Yes.
Damon Capel,
Yes.
5 yeas.
Thank you. Let's go to street maintenance markings. Mr. Piles.
Thank you. So, we had three things that we wanted to do in addition to our street program. One is street sweeping, which Mr. Hennessy's been able to get ready, and end of the month, August 29th will be the first round of street sweeping. It'll probably take a couple days for them to get through the whole town. Hasn't been done in a while. The second thing was street striping. And so I have secured a quote. These are the folks that did our streets program, the striping that was related to that. My first priority, I got on an aerial map and I started to prowl Sunbury.
Sounds a little creepy.
Yeah, that does. Investigate. No, that doesn't sound
That's
any
a better word.
Okay, investigate Sunbury. So my focus first was on unmarked crosswalks, where over time we've installed sidewalks and then the ramps with the detectable ramps. But we for whatever reason, haven't come back and striped those crosswalks. Again, pedestrian safety, children going to school safety. So a lot of those are in the gardens area. That's kind of the 8 through 20 that I found. Yeah, I got Morning Street in there too, but getting those corrected and getting fresh paint where there's no paint right now. Again, safety. Also Heartland Meadows is an area that probably had been painted a long time ago, and it needs some help. They're just, you know, they're wearing off. And then finally, the big project is on Miller from State Route 3 to Cherry, and just renewing all of the striping that's in that area. And that's probably one of our more complex traffic areas in terms of there's tapers and turn lanes, and then taper out and then back to another turn lane. Again, very heavy school and pedestrian area. So it's also renewing all of the striping in that area. And I was able to get it under our budget, kind of target of $20,000. And it's beyond a purchase order that I can sign. So I'd ask if you're in agreement with the scope, which is behind the quote. It's like page 56 is the scope. Page 55 is the quote. But, and they came back with good pricing. Their unit costs are comparable to or slightly less than what we paid during our repaving. So, I'd ask for your approval to be able to sign that and move that project along so it can happen in the fall before the leaves start to fly.
I'll make that motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Mr. Capel,
Second.
second by Mr. Neff. Discussion. Roll call.
Damon Capel,
Yes.
Murray Neff,
Yes.
Tim Goes,
Yes.
John Grumney,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
5 yeas.
And for the record, that was pursuant to the Griffin pavement striping estimate.
Yes.
Total is $18,752.30. Okay, very good. All right, now let's go to AEP, American Electric Power. We have a purchase order 35,877 in the amount of $33,000. Ms. Belcher, can you provide some
In the beginning of the
information?
year, we do blanket POs.
Mhm.
This year I did a blanket PO for American Electric Power. Because of the influx of the increase of the electric bills, I am short. So I'm coming back to council to ask for an increase in the blanket purchase order. And most of this will be for wastewater treatment plant. A very small percent of it is going to be for the street lights and things,
And what budget will that come out of?
wastewater sewer.
Sewer. Okay. And we talked about it earlier this evening. I think our current budget is balance is 4.7 million, and
Yeah.
This type of contingency is not out of the ordinary.
It's a little bit higher than it should be. In fact, we're researching, Dana's working on joining a different aggregation
Mhm.
program. So hopefully we can get that down. So going forward, it won't be that bad.
Okay, and Dana's working on that. Okay. Any further question, a motion? No, I'll motion to approve.
Second.
Second by Mr. Grumney. Any further discussion? Okay, go ahead, Ms. Belcher.
Tim Goes,
Yes.
John Grumney,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper.
Yes.
Murray Neff,
Yes.
Damon Capel,
Yes.
5 yeas.
And again, for the record, that was purchase order 35877 for AEP, 33,000. Okay, I think that's everything I had. Before we go to the August 31 meeting discussion, any new or unfinished business, Mr. Neff?
Nothing to report.
Okay, Ms. Cooper?
Yeah, just a couple things. Reminder that the sizzle is Saturday. If you have any friends or family that would like to volunteer, please send them to Big Walnut Civic. They're still looking for volunteers. Reminder that staggered school start has begun this week. Big Walnut is back to school. I ran into Officer Whiteside today. He's super pumped about it. So keep an eye out for school buses, walkers, all that kind of thing. And then lastly, 'tis the time of year I am getting the trick or treat question. It is on our calendar on the Sunbury website that it's Monday, October 31st from 6 to 8. I would just like to make an official motion that Sunbury holds their trick or treat on Monday, October 31st from 6 to 8 p.m.
I thought we approved that before.
I don't know that we've done it. Have we done, do you recall, Mr. Breen? I know I have not brought it up until tonight. So if I didn't bring it up, I'm
I
not
thought
sure
we
you all.
discussed it
We did
literally
last
for
year.
last year's.
Was it that we were gonna,
Do it on
no,
the 31st.
I don't think so because we weren't. I don't think so because we did it last year because it fell on a Sunday. But I know we didn't do it for sure for Friday nights and Saturday nights if it falls.
Yeah, the risk of
Yeah.
offending the trick or treat contingency in this village or city outweighs the redundancy factor. I would just motion it again.
Okay.
And then is there a rain date proposed or not?
We did that last year. I think the mayor felt comfortable with that. So I'll amend my motion to add a rain date for Tuesday, November 1st.
Okay. So the motion is to hold trick or treat on Monday, October 31st,
From 6
from
to 8.
6 to 8 p.m. with a rain date of the following evening, Tuesday.
Yep.
That's the motion by Ms. Cooper,
Second.
second by Mr. Capel. Discussion? Roll call.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
Damon Capel,
Yes.
Tim Goes,
Yes.
Marie Neff,
Yes.
John Grumney,
Yes.
5 yeas.
Your
That's it.
motion passed. You can post that now. officially.
Yeah. I won't be asked again.
All right. Okay, and we don't normally hold a meeting on the 5th, I believe it's the 5th Wednesday of the month. But we do have some business, I believe, that will be needed to be taken care of. So I'm going to make a motion to hold a meeting on August 31st, 2022, assuming you're all going to be here because actually I will not be here.
Oh,
That's convenient.
easy to throw out those motions then.
So I'm motioning for you all to attend another meeting.
Just a regular council meeting at 7:30.
Yes. You all will be here. I know Mr. Mayor
That's
will be in
fine.
attendance.
Is that okay with you, your schedule?
Pretty sure Mr. Martin's planning to be, so I think I'll be the only one vacant or absent. Okay, so motion, who was that motion on again? Who made that motion? Was that me? I think it was me. Who seconded that?
Making a motion right now.
I motioned it.
I'll
You'll second. Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Belcher.
Tim Goes,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
John Grumney,
Yes.
Marie Neff,
Yes.
Damon Capel,
Yes.
5 yeas.
All right. Very good. Motion passed. Anything further? From our table of highly paid personnel. They're all quiet. Okay, motion for adjournment.
Second.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Belcher.
Tim Goes,
Yes.
Marie Neff,
Yes.
John Grumney,
Yes.
Cindy Cooper,
Yes.
Damon Capel,
Yes.
5 yeas.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.